Ladies and gentlemen, the Rum Regret Podcast. I am Andy Drake.
Johanna Myers.
Nate Tussey, and we drink and we know things.
We are talking about the Chris Hardwick, Chloe Dykstra kerfuffle.
Situation.
The situation.
Take this basket of snakes and lay them out straight.
So let's just start off and say that obviously we do not condone any type of sexual or emotional or physical harassment towards women.
Towards anybody.
Towards anybody, yeah. Correct, yeah.
Don't be a jerk.
Don't be a jerk. But also, don't condone crying wolf either.
Yeah. What was the tweet that Mama...
So Mama Hearst
said?
Mama Hearst said, beware the person who stabs you and then tells the world that they're the one bleeding.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
My God. That was perfect.
Right.
I'm so... I mean, I know we're all conflicted because obviously he's a big part of our nerddom, but...
Right. And a reason why we're doing what we're doing right this
moment. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without him, there would be no Rum and Regret.
Right.
But, you know, not to draw too fine a line directly from his podcast to ours. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those kind of... what do they call them? The outbreak monkey of the nerd podcast situation, right?
Right,
like,
yeah.
He's been around for a long time. He's doing it right, or at least, you know, and from every... I've been listening to him for years, and we've been watching him for years, and it's... I know we don't know the guy, but...
Right.
I from what she's... The stuff that she's talking about, I can't fathom that person to be capable of that.
Yeah. Right. So
however,
yeah.
Cosby. So
right. Yeah.
I don't want to believe it, but I don't.
So let's catch everyone up here. So Chris Hardwick, for older people, you remember seeing him as the host of Singled Out with Jenny McCarthy back in the day. That was not, I wouldn't say dormant for many years, but sort of building his sort of niche and empire with started Nerdist, which started off as a podcast, but then became a huge monster, and really gave a voice to the people who, who go to cons, who have any sort of intense sort of fandom in the world, and when
it really filled the void when G4 went off the air.
Absolutely,
yeah.
No, absolutely, and when Chris sort of came back into the limelight, he was with Chloe Dykstra. And Chloe Dykstra is the daughter of John Dykstra, who famously did effects for the Star Wars movies.
He invented the lightsaber.
Yeah,
that's right. And
right.
She was on the Face Off show.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I didn't know that.
So yeah. So this week she posted an article on, or it was last week, wasn't it? I don't know.
It's
anyway,
like Thursday or Friday.
Like that, yeah.
So she posted an article on Medium.
Unlisted article.
An unlisted article, and did not name Chris Hardwick by name, but by many other of his traits.
Yeah, exactly.
Of who he is, and
every single other possible trait she could have
picked. Podcaster.
Right.
Yeah.
CEO was successful.
Yeah. And accused him of
heinous acts.
Of some pretty severe mental abuse and sexual abuse.
Yep.
Chris Hardwick has since come out to deny those allegations. But in the sort of the wake of the Me Too movement, and also in the wake of Roseanne, AMC is not airing Talking with Chris Hardwick right now. He was
pulled from Comic-Con.
Pulled from the Comic-Con panels that he was moderating as well. I know NBC still that production doesn't start until September. This could be cleared up by then.
Still investigating.
Right. Yeah.
His whole life is
basically they're not. No one's going to touch him until this clears up.
And even if it is cleared,
it might be
a big ding.
Right. Chloe has since gone silent. But her boyfriend hasn't. But then, he wasn't around when this went on, so you really can't take anything he says because it's,
it's all second.
It's hearsay.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do we want to dig into this? I mean, because we can start with sort of everything that's out there. We can sort of analyze her article. And because I've seen certain comments on her article to where, well, you say you didn't want to, but you say you relented at some point. So what is that? Again, it's
Without getting into the details of the article too much, some of the timeline doesn't really match up for me, or if things were. See, it's hard for us to kind of Monday morning quarterback this thing.
Absolutely.
Because we don't know what is real. So we don't know what the facts are. We don't know what her version of the facts are, even though she threw them out here, because depending on what's going on with her, she could believe all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw shade automatically just because I idolized Chris Hardwick to a certain degree. I mean, if Cosby taught us anything, it's that anybody is capable of anything. But I think it's unfair to draw comparisons between him and Cosby, because Cosby had a rep for being the cause when he wasn't on TV.
Right.
Who was a pussy hound, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So you don't have that with Hardwick. From all accounts, most accounts, because Chris Gore ripped him a new asshole. Most accounts say that he is a genuine, caring, supportive individual who just wants everyone to be happy in their own skin. And
right.
And I really hope these allegations aren't true, but I don't understand how, if what she says is true, I don't understand the kind of pleading to get back together with Chris after the fact, and maybe that's more of a security blanket, kind of like what Hardwick's breakup text alluded to.
Right.
It's really hard to kind of figure out where her mind's at for anything other than vengeance at this point, and I don't know.
Right.
Especially
yeah.
since she's gone completely radio silent. She's not following up with anything and.
Yeah, and so so since he's denied allegations, TMZ has released text messages. From first it was just a snippet of Chloe texting Chris 7 months after the breakup of, hey, when can we be okay again? But then since then they released the breakup text, which, sorry. Merit down for breaking up via text.
Yeah.
I've done it. I don't condone it. I feel like a dick for doing it. I still feel like a dick to this day for doing it. But at the same time, sometimes you need that buffer to do it, and that very well could have been it, considering how it went down and what happened. Yeah. And then you see her response directly after that text comes in, and so. For me reading that stuff, yes, something isn't lining up. Mm-hmm. From how she turns it, and let me just put this out there that perception is a lot in this. While as a nerd in a relationship, I didn't have a whole lot of relationship experience when I started dating girls, and sure enough, what I could deem as, me getting just a little heated could seem like a complete and total rage to someone else.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what happened in those closed doors between Chris and Chloe, could be one person seeing one thing and another person seeing something else.
Yeah.
Right. And so at the end of her letter, Chloe alluded to evidence that she had. That if Chris doesn't do the right thing, this will come out.
Well, what's the right thing?
Not suing her. Because she's like, the guy that I dated that ruined my life would sue me over this. And she, said, don't do that. I have proof. And hopefully the person you become will do the right thing. So she wants to
torpedo his career by putting this out there. But don't sue me because I have proof.
But her current boyfriend now has alluded to the evidence is for the lawyers, which means
there's some litigation happening.
And we don't know. And
blackball litigation, though, I think is what they were alluding to there.
Okay, but so
that's what the text.
Right. So do we? Yeah. Do we don't know who initiated it?
Well, and that's the thing. Another part of this that doesn't line up is if they are trying to sue him for getting them blackballed from the industry, no lawyer in their right mind would allow this kind of thing or would counsel to let this kind of thing happen. You shut the fuck up until that's done. You don't give him ammunition now.
Right.
That, hey, they're I mean, what is it called when it's in print? Libel, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're destroying my career with these libelous,
Right.
charges,
Yeah.
So.
And in terms of the blacklisting too, and I mean, but that could be as simple as guilty by disassociation, where someone's trying to hire Chloe for a gig, and I know she knows Chris.
Right.
Let me call him, right, and find we're not together anymore.
Right.
Well, maybe she's not right for this then.
Yeah.
And it could be just as simple as that. Oh, maybe we'll go somewhere else.
Well, was she in high demand in the first place? I think she got the hosting gig because of Chris. It was a Nerdist.
Well, so I mean, and that goes to
search results.
Shut up.
And that goes to both sort of support and not support Chloe's statement that she was blacklisted from the agency. Is that we saw her quite a bit when she was with Chris. Mm-hmm. She had a pretty active YouTube channel. She would go to cons regularly. We'd see her all decked out at cons and whatnot, right? Since then, not a whole lot.
Well, and I watched a video, and I can't remember the name of the channel or whatever, just when I was, scouring the internet for, information.
Yeah.
This guy brought up a good point. Let's look at her IMDb page.
Right, yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff listed between the breakup and now, so it's she wasn't that hard up for work.
Right.
She was still doing things, so,
yeah.
it's for her to come across I was completely blacklisted from the industry, she makes it kind of sound like she hasn't been working or hasn't been able to find work.
Well, so
She's got a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came out a few days ago. She's got stuff on her IMDb as far as work.
Well, and think of it too, the sort of influx in the industry, sort of since they started dating to when they broke up, right? Of that culture and just shows and information around that culture has blown up to
so
where
hot right now.
Right. And to where people now are I mean there are a lot of shows just around this stuff.
Yep.
It seems to me that but again there are people then they want to put out the best product possible. Right?
Yeah.
Is she part of that or is she not? And and that's the question here is that some people are good hosts, and was she, did we follow her just because she was with Chris? Or did we follow her because we liked her?
I followed her because I liked her. After the breakup,
she was cool.
But we didn't see a whole...
I continued to follow her because I.
Yeah, I didn't unfollow her.
Oh, right, yeah.
But
I didn't...
That leads to my other point, though, is, so think about if it was friends in our friend group, and there was a big age gap. The guy's obviously completely bananas over the girl, and it seems vice versa. Then she cheats on him with somebody that he works with, and there's naturally going to be a fallout there.
Yeah.
Depending on friends disassociate and that kind of thing. So now take that to the level where Hardwick was operating at the time that they split up, where he was the CEO of Nerdist, basically.
Yeah.
And is actually getting his Seacrest on.
Right.
A lot of his friends potentially could be people that would have hired her if she hadn't have cheated on him and torpedoed that relationship. So
right.
That's
if they broke up amicably for
right, exactly.
Yeah.
If it was just you need to have your Rumspringa, like he put it in the article,
right,
in the text, and be free, and if you come back, it's meant to be kind of stuff. Then that's different. But when you poison the well yourself and then cry that this water is poisonous,
right, and
not a lot there.
Yeah, and we didn't learn that she cheated on him until now.
As far as I know, yeah. I think I'd heard rumors.
Well, so
but
and I noticed this right off the bat. Sorry, Joe. But like she posted a video, I mean, no less than like a week or so after the breakup of her and Whitwer looking at stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Less than a week.
Immediate. Like,
Well, he was Star Killer, so I guess.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
yeah, she went
He's
from
terrible.
Instagram pictures with Hardwick to Instagram pictures with Whitwer.
Right.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So that, I mean, that's sort of and so, but again, it seemed like he was very respectful of the, you know, and again, not to torpedo her career. So it just there's a definite discrepancy in what she described
Right.
versus the text that we read today.
Right.
You know, that doesn't seem like if he was that bad of a person.
Yeah. I don't see that text going that way.
No, no. I mean,
I'm going to burn you to the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and granted, you know, he is a smart guy. He knows he's sending
Permanent messages.
Permanent messages, something that can be screenshot and reprinted and
traced and
right, exactly.
That's a
So
good point.
so
Maybe
again,
he's an evil mastermind, and we just don't know it. And we're all
Possibly.
fooled, but
Could be.
That would suck.
who
Yeah.
knows? But one of the things that kind of struck me as odd too is like Chloe Dykstra is on Reddit a lot.
yeah,
A lot. And like within the last 6 months, she's been posting a lot about this unnamed abuser. So like, you know, when this whole thing came out, I was like, she's finally gonna name who abused her, and I was hoping against hope it wasn't Hardwick.
right, yeah,
Because I just, you know, I was like, there's no way, he's Chris Hardwick.
right,
And then when that thing came out, I was like, fuck, it was. But like, she's been leaving breadcrumbs like the last 5 to 6 months on Reddit,
okay,
and about the woman who ruined her career, which, you know,
yeah,
we can, I don't know if I could say this, but I mean,
Allegedly.
Michelle Morrow,
Allegedly.
yeah,
I would just assume, because the whole Chaotic Awesome,
right, yeah,
you know, they were on that show together, besties, and then it just stopped.
right. So the other issue I want to bring up is now how easy it is to ruin somebody's career
Oh, shit.
regardless of evidence. Now, in the case of Roseanne, this isn't abuse. This is just straight up racism, and it makes sense. She is sort of the forefront of a show named after her, and yeah, you put that show back on the air, you look like you're condoning that behavior, and you're,
Well,
you know,
let's back it up, because she has always been racist.
Right?
She
Yeah,
just became too racist for them to profit off of
exactly.
her tempered racism, and that's why the show ended.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's not pretend that. I mean, they did do the right thing by getting her off the air, but they knew what they were getting into, and
Right.
I feel bad for the other people on that show who were, because it was a hit. It was the #1 show on TV.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they were, you know, and now they're all out of work.
All these
Right.
people are out of work because of her, which
Right. Yeah.
is terrible.
But look at who you're involving yourself with, and that's
Right.
why several of the writers quit before this even happened.
Right.
You know, it was-
Yeah.
But
So-
I mean, that's something though that, you know, you don't have to prove it.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, she dug her own hole, and like
Yeah.
I said, and the quick cancellation of that show was an appropriate response.
Yeah,
Yes,
that makes
I agree.
sense.
I do
No.
not feel that the networks and Comic-Con distancing themselves from Hardwick right now was appropriate.
No.
No.
I agree with that too.
I think that
it's
that
a
is
knee-jerk reaction to the world we're in right now.
exactly.
And I do understand why they did it.
No,
Because
this all boils down to ad revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it boils down to.
Yep.
And I've unfortunately worked in this industry for years, working for radio stations, to where, you know,
Cash is king.
but it's again, it's a host, you know, of a show, and when you're selling ad revenue, you're selling that person's personality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you go very, very hard to paint. I mean, especially in my industry, a really good picture of that person's personality. This is what this person is, right? And again, radio hosts are different. They're sort of the D-list celebrities, right? Not known literally outside of their wattage, right? Unless you're Stern, okay? But that's the thing, is that we bank a lot on those person's personalities. That's what we call them, their personalities. And so, again, it's going to be hard to sell Chris Hardwick while this is unresolved.
For sure.
And I get it. Okay? Because you have guys trying to sell, oh, hey, we need to sell ads during Talking Dead. And that guy just get, accused of sexual assault? You got another show we can buy?
Right.
And so, and that's what it boils down to. And it's just like, okay, so, and that's, I understand why they did it, but again, I think it's too soon.
I don't think it's right.
I think it's too soon. You come out and say, we're investigating. And I think that the way that AMC put it, at least with Talking, was, is that we're not airing the show at this time.
Yeah.
So
it's not that
it's not that it's canceled. Yeah,
but
and it's not that we
it's paused.
Right, exactly. The
Talking was supposed to premiere on Sunday with
Donald Glover. Right? Yeah. The Comic-Con panels? Really?
Honestly,
yeah,
I can see that because you're going to get a bunch of nerds in there that are going to They're not talking to him. He's just moderating the panel.
Doesn't matter.
Because people are going to either protest
nerd rage is
because
powerful.
he's there.
Yeah,
exactly.
And they're going to get a bunch of people that are going to have signs like, abuser. Right? It's going to be basically what's happening on Twitter in
the
Hall
flesh.
H.
Yeah.
And so I don't blame them one bit for that because the powers that be see that, I think.
And from what I read, he bowed out of those things voluntarily.
Okay. Well, then that... You know what? Then that's probably a smarter move.
And that is a smart move on his part.
Sure.
Not to open himself up to any of this. Because there needs to we need to know what direction this wind is blowing. There needs to be some evidence or a retraction or something so we can move past this.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, it probably is a smart move to focus on this and clear this up.
Yeah, and just as a side note... talking about this as a serious issue with the shit going on in our country right now bugs me to the core, and I just had to throw that out there. However, it's important in our lives, so I get it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that, since Trump, it has been a culture shift.
Yeah. Mildly.
Right. But it's.
Nobody should have the power to ruin somebody's life that way
over allegations.
Over a blog post with no proof.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like if it's true, then she deserves all the reparations she wants or what have you. But
yeah, and I think that's the big message here and right now. Currently, with the evidence out there, in my mind, I feel it's pointing a little more towards Chris's sort of side of the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Which has come out. Again, that could all change in an instant. So I don't, I'm not siding either way here. I don't, and again, and it's just like any other breakup in any other circle. You're not going to side until you hear the full evidence one way or the other. And in this time of cell phones, camera phones, and audio recording, that stuff is a lot easier to get now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole taking sides thing gets tough.
But it's silly at some point, too.
It gets tough because, let's say your comparison to like any other breakup is a tough one, too, because regardless of what happens in a relationship, you usually stay friends with the person you were friends with longer, typically.
True.
Right? So regardless of what happens, especially with guys, I think in general, I got your back, bro. And then it comes out that he was a total asshole, and then you distance yourself, if that's appropriate. But
right. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a really sticky situation, and I hope it just ends up that she was a woman scorned and had been plotting her revenge for a while, because some of the things she said in that, I talked about this before, not to get too personal, some of the things that she said in her post reminded me of shades of, when my daughter was a lot younger, and there was a lot, her mom and I broke up, and there was a, pleading to the court.
Yeah.
Just nightmare stuff.
Right.
And that anybody that knows me knew it was complete bullshit.
Right.
So, hell hath no fury and all that. Hopefully that's what it is.
Yeah.
And hopefully she's looking for some kind of retribution for whatever she feels is, blacklisted or whatever. But if it isn't, then he needs to go the way of Roseanne. And,
no, absolutely.
By Felicia.
Absolutely.
And go to jail or whatever.
As heartbreaking as that would be, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If any of this is true, and any of what she posted is true, absolutely.
Yep.
Will I have any problem not seeing Chris Hardwick on TV or hearing his voice again? No.
Nope.
Because, he deserves to go away.
So what about Chris Gore just jumping on Team Chloe right away? And
well, he was blacklisted too, supposedly by Hardwick. So that's kind of
blacklisted from what? He was on a G4 show.
Right, and that's and again, and I think that's sort of ambition versus what people feel that they are owed, and I mean, think of it in terms of NSYNC.
Oh God!
1 out of 4 guys made it. 1 out of 5 made it. Right? Huh? That's I think.
Is there a bye joke?
Yeah.
Is that in sync? Can I get that right?
Yeah.
But no, think of it in terms of that. 1 out of 5 made it. Because they had one guy sort of had it and had that ambition to be more. He's a movie star. He's doing his SNL bits and everything. But and that's that's sort of the thing is that I view G4 as certain people made it out of G4 and were able to go and be other things. Olivia Munn has certainly blown up to be getting really good acting jobs here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I
want Kevin Pereira to blow up. Because, God damn it, that guy's entertaining.
Right, yeah. He had a TV show, I know, like a game show for a little while, but then...
He still has Hack My Life, and
okay.
He's still doing his super creative / attack stuff.
Right, yeah.
Maybe this will give him an opportunity.
Well,
and maybe Gore was up for a few of those sort of fringe shows that Hardwick ended up getting, and it just it's the... It's those actors that look alike, and he always gets my roles. And that could be, and again, it's sort of when what we see on TV is obviously very different from what they are in person, right? Yeah. And sure enough, maybe that they just don't have, it's that relationship where this guy can easily get stuff that I can get. I need to be on my A game to. If he's my competition, and I mean, it's competition, and you see one guy blowing up that you think you're better than, that you're funnier than, and you're not in those eyes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just what it is.
Everybody jelly.
Yeah. Right.
Or that maybe, he didn't get on the boat with Hardwick, because, Chobot works for Nerdist, Hayslip, all the people from G4 that didn't do their own thing went to Nerdist.
Right.
So maybe he's a little bitter that he didn't get either invited along or make the cut.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to see all the reactions of all those people that are all kind of in that hemisphere.
I haven't seen any other reactions.
So just Google. I mean, if you search for do a Chris Hardwick hashtag or something, there's one girl who worked for Nerdist who just hated Hardwick, and she was just like normal. I don't know that I think she hosted like a couple of the smaller shows and stuff like that, but she hated him. Absolute and total hate. Just called him a dick. Called him everything in the world in the book.
Yeah, which and conversely,
how old was she?
There's a woman that works with him with his animation company, that does Danger and Eggs, that's backing him up wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Well, that was the statement from NBC too. This shocked us, as we've always had a great relationship with him, or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously we'll be looking into it.
And Felicia Day and Will Wheaton are both like, shocked but not saying shit.
Yeah, which is smart,
Wheaton's
but
his best friend,
right?
so,
but
know.
Also probably came from Chris saying, "Hey, we don't need to throw any wood on this fire."
Yeah.
You know.
Hopefully it'll burn.
And
Everybody else is just kind of quiet, like nothing from any of the G4 people except for Chris Gore.
Yeah, but again, that's smart because again, you don't want this. You know, you don't want this Nerdist Civil War just showing up.
Captain America better die in this fucking version.
Yeah.
Damn
Did you just wish death on Chris Evans?
No, Captain America. I think Hardwick is the Boy Scout in this situation.
Right.
Potentially.
Yeah. You don't know. You just don't know. Yeah. But who knows? We might find out soon. We may never find out. And, you know...
If he settles for an undisclosed amount of money, I'm going to be so pissed off.
Well, if
he pays her an undisclosed amount of money, hush money.
Yeah.
If he settles, I bet you we never hear from him.
Shades of Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Because that just implies guilt.
Yeah.
All the way up the tree. Yeah. So, yeah.
God, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
Retire to Hearst Castle and never be seen from again.
Exactly. Right.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens there? I mean,
that's another thing too. Is
dude, impact on your marriage much?
Well, I mean, you know, people are people, and it's your behavior necessarily really doesn't change.
Yeah.
So how do you go from being the monster painted in Chloe's article to married?
So let's devil's advocate this thing real quick.
Okay.
Let's say he is the monster she pretends him to be, and he finds himself with an opportunity to marry a fucking Hearst who's into shit that he is into.
Yes.
Wouldn't you be able to cocoon yourself into a reasonable person for X number, however
long
whatever
it takes
time,
to get
if
the
he's
wedding.
that person, he could make that work.
But isn't it until I say I do? And I mean,
no, you got to play it out for a little while.
Okay, but
there's probably some kind of prenup, X number of months thing.
I think is Hardwick hurting for money?
No, not at all.
Hey,
that's probably why she's comfortable marrying him.
Right.
And I guarantee you there's a prenup there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
With that last name, you don't...
Yeah. It's like on your backside of your birth certificate.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where... Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Oh,
Wait and see.
Don't hurt my Hardwick, man. He's seriously like my hero. I've loved him since Singled Out.
Yeah. Nate, final thoughts?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's a rough one. I can't... I don't think I can say any more than what I've already said, honestly. Yeah. I think...
Is there any way that he comes out of this without some level of damage?
No.
No, absolutely. His presence is... I mean, unless there's evidence exonerating him on every point.
Well, and even if there is, we talked about this before. He at this point there has been a shadow cast, and you're not going to be able to remove that. Even if Chloe comes out and says, "I'm a crazy bitch and I made it all up to get back at my ex-boyfriend," there's still going to be the allegation out there. It's on his fucking Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Well,
already.
Clearly, yeah. I mean, because it's in the public.
Yeah, but
I mean, you know, I mean, other actors, other people certainly bigger than him have had these little rough patches.
Mel Gibson is back.
Is back. Yeah. Now, granted, he's not Mel status, but you know, you're not.
He also didn't run against the Jews on tape.
Right, I know, and so, but that's out there. That's out there for good.
Sheriff Sweet Tits or whatever.
Right. Yeah. But again, I mean, yeah, he's not to the status that he was, but then no one ever is at his age either, you know? So that's another thing, that he's, you know, it's a general decline of popularity, but again, I watch his interviews on talk shows after all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, and sure enough, he's totally an amicable guy. Obviously, they don't reference it on the talk shows anymore, you know, and they don't talk about it, but again, you know, you watch him and he just seems like he's trying very hard to be, like he was before.
I couldn't believe that Nerdist went so far as to remove his name as the creator of.
That's way too far. Like,
dude,
are you going to rewrite history
over an
here
allegation,
over this?
and he's not even part of the company anymore?
That is the state of the country, though.
I know, it's just
that
ridiculous.
that is the absolute state of the country. Is that you
ridiculous?
Well, but and again, you are a company, dependent on some advertising, right? And unfortunately, in the SEO world,
that's a good
you
point.
do not want to Google Chris Hardwick and
sure.
have your stuff come up.
No.
That is a good point.
But he's the guy who created it.
Yeah, and he will still always be the guy who created it, no matter if you take it off the website or not.
Yeah, and so I watched. It was one of the last episodes of Nerdist News, and it was Dan Casey was.
I just watched that.
Okay, yeah, and the statement at the end.
We are Nerdist.
Right. I mean, kudos for putting the support lines on there, but at the same time,
where's the support for Chris? God damn it! I'm so. I know they're distancing themselves and they have to say that. But
yeah.
I haven't seen anybody publicly come out really and say this is bullshit. There's no way this guy could have done it.
Well, but again, that's all incumbent on Chloe's evidence.
Well, I'm just saying individually.
Right.
Obviously, Nerdist isn't going to allow that on their network.
No.
But, I mean, I haven't, like, Wheaton or anybody.
There's a few tweets here and there of people that are, or just like, I've known the guy for years and I don't believe this. And,
I mean,
I've worked with him and I don't believe it, but they're not the big names that you would think would.
Right. But again,
but they don't want to do.
They've been advised.
Yeah, if I was him, anybody close to his camp, I would just say, hey,
keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut until. And this is, and again, if I was his lawyer, I'd say, okay, what do you have? What do you have that can clear your? And obviously, those texts that were released, was a step in the right direction because it certainly doesn't paint the picture of what Chloe painted. But
who keeps a text for 4 years?
Well, you know what?
You might still have your history on your phone or whatever, but
possibly. But if this was going to come back to bite you in the ass, okay, I'm gonna keep this.
I've got a hurt locker.
Right? Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, which brings up a whole another set of questions. Yeah, right. Why would you keep that unless there was something she could dig up?
Dun dun dun!
Yeah. And on that note, everybody. That is the Rum Regret podcast on the Chris
Hardwick. The two if it wasn't for your damn kids. They pulled the mask up and it's Hardwick.
It was Old Man Withers this whole time.
Oh, Old Man Withers.
Row.
Thanks for listening to the Rum Regret podcast on the Chris Hardwick, Chloe Dykstra kerfuffle. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below.